it's like to lose. To feel so desperately that you're right. Fun isn't something one considers when balancing the universe.
Oh yay, another Marvel film I get to talk about. Oh joy. Hi everyone, this is your boy Avengers Infinity War was written by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, and it's directed by Anthony and Joe Russo, who's directed a couple of the other Marvel films, including Winter Soldier, which is one of my favorites. This film picks up right where Thor Ragnarok left off. Thanos, who's this powerful, purple, prune-looking guy, is out to collect all of the Infinity Stones, which would give him the power to essentially rule and destroy the universe as he pleases. So the Avengers come together and unite to stop this big, evil prune from destroying everyone in the universe. I've said this a million times, and I'll say it one more time. I am tired of Marvel movies. They're just big, loud, forgettable, and annoying with a shit ton of CGI that I'm just tired of seeing. And while there are plenty of things that Infinity War has in its DNA that you can find in other Marvel films, I do think that this particular film is different in that it's not hand-tied to a 3-act structure, unlike a lot of the other previous Marvel films. I can also appreciate how dark this film was at times. There are scenes that are genuinely bleak and kind of depressing, which is a much different course for Marvel than what we're used to seeing. This film, at the very least, is much better than the 2 previous Avengers films, which were so boring. It has a lot of good moments, and it never felt too boring, which is pretty impressive considering its very long runtime of 2.5 hours. This film was also surprisingly coherent. They do a really good job of incorporating this massive cast of characters by kind of breaking the story up into 4 to 5 subplots, which different characters are a part of that eventually converge towards the end. This is not a spoiler because it's in the trailer. I really like the team up between Bucky Barnes, Captain America, and Black Panther in this film. I just think those characters are so cool, and it's so nice to see them come together again. I felt that Thanos' character did live up to the hype for the most part. He is a very good villain. I don't think he's on the same level as, say, Joker from The Dark Knight, but he is better than any Marvel villain I can think of in recent years. The CGI was okay. I felt that the design of Thanos' character held up for the most part, minus a couple of scenes that looked kind of weird. This is really Thanos' film for the most part, and I think it's because this movie really is largely about him. He's the only character that had a lot of development and the only character that feels consistent because he's kind of the only one here that has a clean slate. Because you have so many characters coming together in this movie who were developed and created in different films by different filmmakers, they tend to act in a way that doesn't feel true to their character because they're being completely controlled by different writers and directors this time around. I would only consider that a moderate issue though. It didn't take me out of it too much. But there are other problems with this movie that are pretty big and kind of distracting, which I need to talk about, but the only way for me to talk about them would be for me to go into spoilers, and I don't want to ruin it for you guys, so if you don't want to hear any, go to this point in the video, and you can hear my final thoughts on Infinity War. And 3, 2, 1, let's go. So this film is filled with all sorts of things that don't make sense, especially how Doctor Strange and Thanos don't really seem to be using their powers to their full potential, but there's one particular plot issue that's so glaring and so distracting. Gamora, who's the daughter of Thanos, goes into detail at one point about the power of Thanos and the Infinity Stones and how he can destroy the universe with the snap of his finger once he collects all of them. And she reveals that she's the only one who knows where the Soul Stone is and tells Star-Lord or Chris Pratt to kill her if Thanos captures her so that he can't force the information out of her on the whereabouts of the Soul Stone. So you would think that Gamora, who understands the power of Thanos more than anyone else, would hide and run away from him so that he could never find her and figure out where it is. But for some reason, she and the rest of the Guardians willingly confront Thanos to stop him from getting the Reality Stone, and she gets captured. Why are you even giving him the opportunity to capture you in the first place? Great fucking idea. Why couldn't have Gamora just went somewhere else and the rest of the Guardians could confront him instead? Like, it's either these characters are stupid or they're just making these dumb decisions on purpose so that they can move the plot along. It's just lazy fucking writing. Speaking of lazy writing, the dialogue is also not very good at some points. The romance between Scarlet Witch and Vision is just, ugh. Another issue I have with this film and most other Marvel films is the unbalanced and out-of-place humor. It felt like Guardians of the Galaxy 2 all over again. Jesus Christ, I just can't handle it anymore. I think some of the jokes land every now and again, and there are parts that are funny that I did laugh at, but there are so many times in Infinity War where you have these serious moments where it's even pretty dark, and then it's completely undermined by a stupid juvenile joke. There's a flashback scene where we see a genocide of Gamora's people as she's a little girl, and then Drax immediately makes a joke afterwards about how he's been listening to her talk to Star-Lord the entire time about Thanos killing her people. Because trolling people as they talk about genocide is so funny. Drax's character is pretty much just a stale-ass meme at this point, because all he does is just crack really unfunny jokes. I hated so much of the quippy banter in this film. It just feels so stale and forced, especially between Tony Stark, Star-Lord, and Spider-Man. Like we get it. You guys are cool, and you're smart asses, and you're trying to outsmart each other, and can we just move the film along now, please? Can we please just move the film along? Getting back to some of the more positive things about Infinity War, I did like the fact that this film felt like it had some genuine consequences this time around, unlike pretty much all of the other Marvel films I've seen. At the end of Infinity War, when Thanos receives the final Infinity Stone, he turns half of the universe's population into ash, which includes Bucky Barnes, Star-Lord, Drax, Spider-Man, Black Panther, and Doctor Strange. It's supposed to be really depressing, but it's still kind of not, because Marvel has already announced sequels for Doctor Strange 2, Black Panther 2, Spider-Man 2, and Guardians of the Galaxy 3, so you kind of already know that this is all bullshit. It's theorized that what's going to happen is the old Avengers, which are the only superheroes that are still left, are going to sacrifice themselves to bring back all of the new Avengers, which I would actually like, because I would love to see Tony Stark die. I just wish the studio wouldn't have went ahead and announced these sequels before the story with Thanos concluded, because it's pretty much a spoiler. With that much said though, still did like the fact that Marvel had the balls to at least kill off their characters, albeit temporarily. Guys, I was pleasantly surprised with how this film played out. I was impressed by how well it managed its huge cast of characters, as well as its massive story and how dark they made it. But I can't say this is anything more than just a decent Marvel movie, because it's really brought down by its obnoxious humor and glaring plot holes, and I'm really annoyed with the fact that Marvel has pretty much spoiled how the next Infinity War, or whatever the hell it's called, is going to play out. I'm going to give Avengers Infinity War a 3 out of 5. Thanks for watching, guys. Leave a comment with your thoughts on Avengers Infinity War in the comments section below, and leave a recommendation on a film that I should watch and review next while you're down there. Hit the like button if you like this video, or share this video, or both, whichever you prefer, and if you dig the channel, then subscribe to the channel. Thanks again, guys. This is your boy Jay, all day, every day, another Marvel film in the books, and I'm signing off until next time.